Fragrances that I wish lasted longer. These all smell amazing, but performance is just the Achilles heel. As always, we got unisex, masculine, feminine, and the discount links in the description box in the comments section. So we're going to start with a feminine fragrance here called Grisharnel by BDK. And this is a really nice tea fragrance. Like, I feel like this is a nice scent for people that enjoy drinking matcha tea and doing yoga. Like, it's just a refreshing yet sexy scent because it has that cardamom in there that really just gives it that oomph. And even just smelling it from the nozzle right now, like, this is really good. I like this fragrance. Now, there is a flanker that recently came out. This is an EDP, but I believe it's like an intense, or is it an X-straight? I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but I'm gonna give that one a try and kind of see if it brings what the original is missing, because no lie, I got like 3 hours of Grisharnel on my skin and clothes when I wore it. And that's what shocked me, is on skin, sometimes with these fresher tea fragrances, it doesn't really surprise me, but on clothes, it just kind of disappeared. So that shocked me a bit. And when I think of tea fragrances, I think one of the best tea fragrances that's long lasting that I've tried is Oolong Cha by Nishane. That one is amazing, but Grisharnel smells good, just doesn't last. The next one is a very popular masculine fragrance called La Nuit de l'Homme by YSL. You know it, you love it, I love it. This also has cardamom. And you know what? When I first smelled Grisharnel, I was like, there's something familiar about this. And it's the cardamom, like, it reminded me of La Nuit de l'Homme. So it was the cardamom in both these fragrances that really draws me to them. Oh yeah. Gosh, this was my signature for a long time, and it was just amazing. I wore it anytime, anywhere. People say this is a date night fragrance, and I think it can do much more than that. I've worn it in warm weather. It's been perfect, and it's just something that you have to overspray. But personally, I'm not going to go out and about searching for vintage bottles of La Nuit de l'Homme. I don't mind just having the bottle that I have and spraying more of it. But I do know that there was a reformulation that happened, and apparently the vintage bottles smell fantastic. But to me, yeah, performance just kind of sucks in that regard. And I know they came out with that Blue Electric flanker, but still, even with that, I prefer this one much better than Blue Electric. I think that one tries to be a good modern fragrance, but still sexy. Like, it tries to have that balance of like, oh, it can be an office fragrance too. But it kind of felt like it was doing both half and half. You know, it's like, go either full on sexy or full on office friendly, you know? So I didn't like that. It didn't really give its all. But the original La Nuit de l'Homme still holds a very special place in my heart, and is still one of my favorite designer fragrances of all time. Standard designer fragrances. Next up, we've got a Versace scent, and this one is Bright Crystal. Now, this is a pomegranate fragrance. Great fragrance if you live in warm weather. If you live in the high heat, this is sexy. This is something that you can wear year round pretty much. The girl that actually gave me this sample, I think she lives in Florida. So she's like, yeah, this is something that I can wear pretty much all the time. And I totally see that. Now, it is a pomegranate fragrance, and then it has lotus, it has magnolia, but the issue with this is for the wearer, it goes really undetectable like after a couple of hours. Now, I will say, when my sister has worn this fragrance, I have smelled it on her past 5 hours, and to her, she just, like, she could not smell it at all. But even for me, when I did test this, I went nose blind to it, but I still feel like the performance could be better. Like, if this performed the way Versace Bright Crystal Absolute did, then there wouldn't really, like, this fragrance would not be in this video at all, because I do like the performance of the Absolute. I tested it yesterday, and 6 hours later, it was still on, like, my hand. It wasn't on a pulse point. I didn't spray it anywhere there where it would really project. I just put it right here on the back of my hand, and it was still doing really well. But yeah, this one is so good. Really, like, very mass appealing scent. It is just anywhere, anytime, a chameleon fragrance, as I like to say. All right, the next one is a masculine scent called Legend Spirit by Mont Blanc. And this is my favorite fragrance from the Mont Blanc lineup that I've tried so far. Just smells like fresh deodorant. And I know when you hear the term deodorant, It's like, do I really want to smell like that, or can I just wear my deodorant? And the truth is, yeah, you can just wear your deodorant. But I will say this. When I first smelled Legend Spirit, it was at Sephora, and I tried like 27 other different fragrances, both masculine and feminine. I was smelling a lot of them, the Dior's, the Chanel's, the Givenchy's, Prada's, YSL, right? And the one that my nose kept coming back to was Legend Spirit. And this was the cheapest fragrance out of everything that I tried. And I don't know what it is about this scent. Maybe it's because of the simplicity that it kept bringing me back. I just kept wanting to smell the fragrance. And out of all of the scents that I smelled that day, within a couple of days, I placed an order for Legend Spirit and I bought this fragrance because I was like, dang, like I just kept smelling that test strip. And I'm like, this shit smells really good. And it does. Like, this is something I would totally recommend, like if you're in high school, even in college. You know what? No, this is an all-age fragrance type of thing. The reason I said high school first is because it's much more budget-friendly in comparison to a lot of other designers out there, and especially a lot of niche fragrances out there. So I believe I got this for like less than 40 bucks. And this is like the full-size bottle. And as usual, I don't recommend you paying retail for this, because if you go into Sephora or Ulta or Macy's and try to get this, you're probably going to pay like $75, $85, like the typical price for a designer scent. But discount sites, smell them in stores, buy them on discount sites. So that is the way to do it to save money. And then you can use the rest of your money that you saved up to get another fragrance or a bunch of different samples. So that would be my suggestion. But this is something that you can wear to the gym if you like working out. I used to wear this a lot when I would go on walks. Like in the summertime, I would go on like morning walks. And I got complimented a few times on this fragrance. People could smell it, like smell me, and people that I was walking with were like, yeah, that's a really nice scent that you got right there. So it's just really pleasing, and it's just like a no-brainer, you know? Like you step out of the shower, you want something fresh and clean, but at the same time, there's like an undeniable sex appeal about it that you just can't quite put your finger on, and that is Legend Spirit. All right, next up, we got, I think no, that's not the only niche fragrance. This is one of two. Meliora by Parfums de Marly. This is a feminine fragrance, and to me, this is the queen of Parfums de Marly. I mean, I love Delina, and I think Delina has that spot because it has really good performance. But in terms of smell itself, Meliora is just amazing, all right? It smells like blackcurrant, and I think there's some red berries there as well. And then it has like this champagne sort of vibe. So it's very fun. It's very flirtatious. It's a pretty outgoing fragrance. It just reminds me of like a rich woman who just like bathes, dines, lives life luxuriously, owns a boat, and is the life of the party. Like this isn't like a stuck-up type of person right here. This is just like that super rich person that everybody vibes with. It doesn't matter who they're talking to. You know, this one, so good. I think I made another video too where I said that this is like, you know, when you go to a wedding and there's always like, well, there's not always this, but in some weddings, there's that maid of honor that is just, at the end of the night, everybody knows her name because they're just like, or like the next day when everyone's hungover and they're telling stories like, oh my God, do you remember so-and-so? Oh my, she was so fun, blah, blah, blah. And then for like years to come, when people rethink of the reception of that party, that girl's name comes to mind. And just that is how magnetic a smell like Meliora is, or like that's the type of person I see it on, right? But again, performance is the downside. This shit is so good. Like if this had Delina performance, I don't think it would be a question. I don't think it'd be as under the radar as it is right now, because the smell itself is super gorgeous. But wow. I know they did a Delina exclusive. If they did a Meliora exclusive, call me, because that shit would be fire. And lastly is a unisex fragrance here. This one is called Versace the Dreamer. Now, Versace the Dreamer is probably, I think this is the cheapest on the list. I was going to say it was Legend Spirit, but a follower of mine bought this like, I think last year for me. He was like, you have to try Versace the Dreamer. It's like a really just easygoing, fresh fragrance. And he was right. You know, this isn't something that's bold. None of these are like dangerous, polarizing fragrances. These are all relatively like likable. You know what I'm saying? But what I love about Versace the Dreamer is that a lot of people, you know, ask me for dupes of fragrances, but at the same time, I have a good amount of people that are like, I don't want to buy dupes because they really like the originality behind fragrances, but they want something affordable. And here you have a designer fragrance that has the affordability of a dupe. So you don't have to worry about getting a dupe for Versace the Dreamer because this bottle is like 25 bucks. You know, and imagine getting a sample of it for like 2 cents or like, what? I was being dramatic there. But you get my point, right? So Versace the Dreamer is a very special fragrance to me because I remember when I first, like when I was wearing this a lot, which was the summertime of not last year, but the year before. I remember I'd be waking up and then I'd be working, you know, but this fragrance is the one that I would throw on after I eat breakfast. And it was just go, go, go after that. I just felt very motivated and the sun was out and it was just like a beautiful day every single day, you know, and then after I would work, I would go to the beach. And this is just like a work hard, play hard fragrance to me. And that's what it reminds me of. But definitely something that even if you blind buy it, you're not going to be like, oh shit. And like, you're not going to get pissed off at yourself for burning like what, $25 on a fragrance. There are other scents that I can see. Like, for example, if you blind bought Meliora and you're somebody that only likes sweet fragrances, you're going to be pissed off. And I could see how spending over $330 on a scent is going to kind of get you wound up, right? But with this, 25 bucks, if you don't like it, it's like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe I could give it to somebody that I know here, and you're just not going to beat yourself up about it. But this scent smells lemony on my skin. I don't even think that there's lemon listed in this fragrance. I could be mistaken about that. But I love this thing. I still do. You know what? I already smell like Elysium, so I'm not going to throw it on right now. But this is just something that, like, when I would kind of go on, like, short trips, like, little road trips, I would just bring this as, like, my fragrance. This one or Light Blue Intense. Because if it breaks, I'm not going to be too tripped out about it. And I don't have to worry about putting it into, like, a sample vial or anything like that, a travel set. So this is great. Really, really good. But let me know in the comments. You know what? I was going to say one last one. Dolce & Gabbana The One EDP. Yeah. That fragrance, it smells good. And here's the downside with it, is that, you know how I said with La Nuit de l'Homme, you can just overspray this, right? With Dolce & Gabbana The One EDP, I think that the scent profile is already strong enough that if you overspray it, at least for me, it kind of became a bit nauseating and headache inducing. But the thing is, the performance itself isn't that great. So it's something that you, like, for me, I couldn't overspray it because it would give me a bit of a headache. But at the same time, when I just sprayed it normally, it would fall off after like 3-4 hours, you know, and especially it's like this grapefruit amber fragrance. So you would kind of expect it to just last a little bit longer because it has that warmth and it would shine well in the nighttime, but it just didn't do that for me. But that is also a nice smell. But there it is. Let me know in the comment section below what fragrance disappoints you in terms of performance, and I'll see you in the next video, okay? Take care. Bye.